The New South Wales government says police are investigating a major data breach which has impacted about 1 million patrons of pubs and clubs. Julia Bradley, our political reporter in New South Wales, has more. Julia, talk us through the details of this breach. What do we know?
Well, Kieran, this all started with Australian-based tech company Outerbox. Now, this is a company typically brought in by pubs and clubs across New South Wales to provide sign-in systems at these venues which are used by patrons. They've then contracted on a third-party provider based in the Philippines to help them with some of their work. But it seems that somewhere along the way there's been a dispute, and now this third-party provider is claiming to have the data of up to 1 million people. So things like their home addresses, their date of births, and possibly even their gaming history. We now know that this data has been exposed. It's impacted 17 pubs and clubs across the state. We know that the City of Sydney, RSL, has been impacted, and also Maryvale venues. This now being investigated by New South Wales Police.
And we just urge people to be as careful and as diligent as possible. Clubs have done nothing wrong. The patrons of clubs have done nothing wrong, and we'll await that investigation and advise people accordingly of what to do.
So this third-party provider at this stage has not released this information publicly. They also haven't demanded that any money be handed over, but all of this is certainly a risk. Today, Acting Premier Prue Carr asked whether the government holds concerns about the security of people's personal data given its trial of cashless gaming. This was a big promise made by the Minns team in the last state election. This is a way of stamping out money laundering, but also cracking down on problem gambling. Here was the Acting Premier's response.
We're honouring our election commitment, of course, to roll out our cashless gaming trial, and we need to be very careful at every stage with everyone's individual data. That will form part, obviously, of every consideration that the government takes.
Clubs New South Wales has met with those affected venues.
Julia, in New South Wales, politics and MP referred to ICAC. What's the detail of that?
Well, Kieran, independent MP for Wallandilly, Judy Hannon, she was out speaking at that government press conference in Campbelltown this morning alongside the acting premier when she was asked about this story, allegations that she had asked the editor of a local newspaper for the personal details of a reader who'd sent in a letter to the editor which was critical of her, which was then subsequently published in exchange for ratepayer-funded advertising in that paper. Now, the MP has strenuously denied this allegation, also claiming that the person who sent in that letter, that came from a fake profile. Here was her response.
This is another example of bullying of women. This is a process that's been going on for the last 3 years, and I've asked Council to do something about the bullying that's gone on.
The editor of that local paper claiming that the person who sent in that letter, their identity was verified. I've reached out to ICAC for comment. Kieran.